Hey guys, so if you failed your test, I'm recording this video to go over the test review with you. So that way you can get a refresher. And, I know it's been very difficult with all the different teachers that you've had. So I'm going to go over this stuff and try to get us all on the same page. That way you have this content and you are successful on the test. I'm doing my best to try to make sure you guys learn this stuff. But it's hard, so hopefully you have patience and hopefully this helps. Okay, so I actually have pulled up the economics test review. So if you didn't have that done for the test, this is probably one of the reasons that you didn't do well. So make sure you get one. If you don't have it still, there should be some extra copies in the box. If not, then I will post this on Google Classroom along with this video. All right, so let's go over all of these topics. So let's go start with question number one. What does the study of economics involve? So economics is really about scarcity and how people make choices and decisions concerning scarcity. Like how do we buy things? How do we sell things? What's bought, what's sold? It's also going to look at like how jobs are created. And so all of these things start with scarcity. So if something is scarce in an economy, let's like talk about like oil, which we get gasoline from. That's a scarce item because it's not infinite. We don't make it from scratch. It comes something that comes from the earth, right? It takes time to actually extract it from the earth. So the way that we make decisions on how we use oil, how we buy it, how we sell it, all of those things affect our economy. And that's basically what the study of economics is. It's the study of how people make decisions on what they're going to buy and what they're going to sell, and who are they going to hire to sell their stuff, and who are they going to hire to extract these products from the ground. So I did put the definition, the official definition, in the PowerPoint, which is posted on Google Classroom, but I'm trying to give you an explanation here to help you understand. All right, so what is scarcity? Scarcity is when you don't have enough of something, period. It's pretty simple. If something is scarce, that means you don't have enough of it. But when you're talking about scarcity in economics, what's key is to know that it's a problem for every single society around the world. Scarcity is the fundamental problem of every economy. And how we actually address scarcity is how an economy works. So in the United States, we use the power of supply and demand to address scarcity. But if you live in if you live in like a commune like North Korea, the government makes all the decisions, and they make the decisions how they're going to address scarcity. They're like, well, we don't have food, so people will starve and die. In the United States, people get to have choices on what they eat because we have a different system. All right, so scarcity, the fundamental problem that faces all societies, and it's because it's basically not having enough of something. Okay, so then this part lists 3 examples of each factors of production. So as economists, we look at different sectors of the economy and what they're producing and how they're producing it. Now, the sectors are then broken up into these factors of production. So there's land, there's labor, there's capital, and then there's the entrepreneur, the business starter. Why do we look at it this way? Because if you're trying to come up with a business model, then you need to figure out like where you're going to put your money. Are you going to invest it in the land? Are you going to invest it in more workers? Are you going to invest it in machines? Or are you going to take some profits and start a new business? All of these things are integral decisions in the economy. This is why we study factors of production. All right, so let's get some examples. We're going to use, we'll use a garden to discuss this. So if you're planting your own garden, you've turned your whole yard into a garden. An example of the land portion of this garden is going to be your yard. It's going to be the rain that falls on the yard. It's going to be, and one more example would be the plants that are growing out of it. Okay, that's the land part. Labor is any type of work that you do in the garden. So if you are out there 10 hours a day working on your garden, that's labor. If you hire somebody to come weed your garden, that's labor. If you, I don't know, if you hire people to come harvest your carrots or whatever you're growing, that's labor. Capital is going to be any of the products that you use to help grow in your garden. So like if you have fertilizer, that's capital. If you have like tools to actually dig up the plants, that's capital. If you have to use like a big backhoe or a big tractor, that's capital. And then you guys should know what an entrepreneur is. That's if you start your business. Let's say you in your garden, you are growing so much food that you can't consume it yourself or with your family. So you take it to market and you start to sell it and you start your own little business. You would then be an entrepreneur. Okay? All right, let's go to types of economy. The next question here, which two economies have the least in common? On opposite ends of the spectrum are going to be command economies and capitalist economies. Command economies are where the government makes all the decisions for you, and capitalist economies are where the individuals make all the decisions. There are no true capitalist countries left in the world. It doesn't work. And it doesn't work because humans are greedy, terrible creatures. And left to our own devices, if we can make money, we will steal, kill, do whatever, and we'll make more money than anybody else. The result is monopolies, and the result is corruption. So capitalism on its own does not work. You have to have some sort of government regulation in there. Command societies, on the other hand, this is when the government makes all the decisions. So this is what like a true communist country looks like, or a fascist country like Nazi Germany, where the government told everybody what they were going to eat, what they were going to wear, what they were going to grow, what they were going to produce. If the government is making all the decisions, that is a command economy. There is only one command economy left in the world, and that is North Korea. And it's not working. So command economies on their own don't work. The most common economy in the world is a mixed economy. It's a combination of the two. Okay? So describe a market economy. A market economy is a capitalist economy. A market economy is when people can go and sell products that other people want without government intervention. Okay? So let's say I decide that I want to start making earrings for the school, to sell here in the school. I would have to find, if I found a style that everybody liked and it sold well, I would make that style even more. If I made some really ugly earrings and nobody wanted to buy them, I wouldn't make any more, right? So in a market economy, I get the choice to either make the ugly earring or make the good earring that everybody's going to buy. In a command economy, that ugly earring, I may be forced to make it because the government said you have to. Like I wouldn't have any choice. In a market economy, I get all the choice. And I can own my own business. I don't have to give my money to the government. In a market economy, it's free market. It's free buying and selling and trading without government involvement. All right, so what are some other names for the market economy? That's capitalism, free market. That's about it, actually. All right, so describe socialism. So socialism gets a really bad rep in the United States, although we have many socialist programs here. So socialism basically is when the government runs an institution. So for instance, in the United Kingdom or Canada, most of Europe, the government runs healthcare. So they take taxes from people, and then the government runs the entire healthcare system and makes all the decisions about that. But it means that they have free healthcare. Like that, it's not really free. They pay taxes, but they don't have to buy private insurance. And it's not being run for profit, meaning they're not trying to make money off of it. In the United States, we have medicine that is for profit. Like people are trying to make money off your sickness. It's immoral, I think, but it is what it is. Now, in the United States, we have socialist programs. Social Security, which is a retirement program. You pay it, if you have a job, you see it coming out of your paycheck. It says Social Security. That's money you're paying into an account that when you turn 65, you'll be able to get that money back on a monthly basis. It's like your retirement. Every American is entitled to it. If you are working in the United States, then you're entitled to Social Security. Also, Social Security is there, like if you become disabled, let's say you get in an accident and you have children and you're then paralyzed and you can no longer work. You can file for Social Security and the government will give you a check every month to help you pay your bills and so that your family can eat. So it's a safety net for people. And there's lots of other socialist programs in the United States. There's Medicare, there's Medicaid, there's public education. I mean, you're going to school, you're not paying anything to come here. That is a government-run institution, so it is a type of socialism. So despite the fact that it gets a really bad rep, or a bad name in some news stations, socialism, it's working. And, well, it's working sometimes. Sometimes it can be pretty inefficient. But there are countries in the world, and most capitalist countries in the world have socialism. They're mixed economies, and they're actually more socialist than they are capitalist. So obviously, the United States may need to rethink the stuff that we're doing right now. So how does the socialism differ from a command economy? Well, usually socialism exists along with other capitalist markets. Command would be the government makes all the decisions. In socialism, it means there's some private ownership of industry. Like the people are allowed to have their own businesses. It's just that the government owns the bigger institutions like education and healthcare, things like that. A traditional economy is there's hardly any in the world anymore. It's based on trade and barter, and it's just something old. Like a good example of this would be like an Inuit village near the North Pole. So they would have a traditional economy. They wouldn't be using a lot of money. They would just be trading. That's traditional. Command economy is when the government makes all the decisions. So communism, communist Soviet Union and North Korea, that's an example of that. Who makes decisions in the market economy? That's the individual. You, if you own your own business. In a command economy, it's the government. What's the most common economy in the world today? Mixed. I've already said that. It's a mixture of something. They're not always the same, but they're just kind of mixtures of some things. Like China is communism and free market, right? The United States is free market with some socialism. The Canada is socialism with some free market. So this depends on the level. What economy did Adam Smith advocate? So he's total free market, laissez-faire. He wanted no government in the market at all. Karl Marx is the command. That's where we get communism from. He is the father of communism. And John Maynard Keynes advocated for mixed economies. He's an economist that helps the United States address the Great Depression. He advocated for government intervention in the market through taxes. That way that government could tax the wealthy and then turn around and give that money back to people in the form of jobs so that they would go buy things. So John Maynard Keynes is mixed. All right, so that gets you through your test review. If you get this done and you have it ready for the test, you will be just fine. But you have to make this effort, all right? Good luck.